Welcome back to my channel. My name is Chris, and on today's video, we're going to talk about a fragrance from the house of Off-White. So I decided to do this video a little bit differently. I actually did a wear test throughout the day to test out the fragrance. I also did a first impression opening the box and opening the packaging. But before we get to that, I wanted to show you what the packaging looks like. I want a little bit more better lighting, or better lighting, I should say. This is what the box looks like. So if you zoom in, you do get a very nice little paperwork sticker there. You also get a paperwork. I'm assuming that's what that's for. It says P on it. It does say the name of the fragrance on the side, which is Paperwork Solution number 1. There is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there are 4 of these fragrances all together. It is a very simplistic packaging overall, I would say. Now, the issue with it, I think it's a little bit, I don't know, it's a little bit cheap for the price point that we're getting here. This is a very light, porous type of paper here. It does say Off-White and then the name of the fragrance on there as well if it decides to ever focus. And then you get this box, which is very, skims. I did say that in the actual impressions or first impressions of opening this. It's very like neutral type of currently modern vibe, which is okay. That's what's currently trending. But with that being said, it's not the nicest packaging. It's not going to be one that's going to be a collector's item. Maybe it might be because it is Off-White, and Off-White is one of those brands that has a cult following. But if you open this up, and voila, there is your fragrance. Now, I was taken aback, obviously, online when these were launched. I was like, these are really ugly bottles. That's what my, first impression was of this itself. But if you look at it, it's very simplistic. It's going to say the name of the fragrance on there. It's also going to provide the ingredients list on there as well. It's going to have a paperwork sticker on the side, which is the name of the fragrance itself. Now, the top itself says Off-White paperwork on there, and it's an actual like metal. It's a full on one of those things that you open up, the water with outside, like a water hose type of spigot. So it's actually full metal. It's really heavy. The heft of the bottle comes from this mainly. This is obviously a heavy bottle as well. It's a very nice thick glass as well, but it's not as heavy as this metal piece up top. The sprayer is, it's conventional, if you want to see. Yeah, it's not the most unique thing out there. It's not groundbreaking. It's not a Dior or a Chanel sprayer, which gives you that wafty type of feeling, but it is misty nonetheless. So this range was launched in 2022. The entire range is still fairly new at this point. We're in 2024, so obviously it's hitting that 2-year mark since these were launched. The perfumer will be listed down here. The top notes for this are going to be aromatic notes as well as bergamot, camphor tree, and clary sage. And then in the middle notes, we're going to get kelp and sand. So sand in here is obviously going to be a synthetic component. There's no way for you to extract the smell of the sand. I'm assuming seaweed kelp is a natural ingredient in this fragrance itself, because seaweed kelp obviously does have its own type of smell, and you are able to extract that from it. And then in the base, we're going to get ambergris, patchouli, sandalwood, and vetiver. So we get some nice green elements. We get some earthy elements with the nice woody elements in here. We do get, like I said, that seaweed kelp, which is going to add a very different type of note in this fragrance. It's going to be very vibrant, kind of sea-ish. If you've ever smelled kelp, then you definitely know what you're smelling. It's obviously from the sea. Bergamot in here is going to be the star of the show when the fragrance opens up, because you get that nice waft of bergamot. You get those nice aromatic notes up top. It doesn't specify what they are in particular, but then you get that nice clary sage up top as well. Then you get that sand in here, which you can definitely smell it in this fragrance. It's very unique. I do like the ambergris in here. It adds a nice little element of warmth, although ambergris really just kind of makes the fragrance a little bit more soft, if you will. And then the patchouli in here is not noticeable for me whatsoever. I do get a lot of vetiver because it does have a very nice green element to it. And the sandalwood in here is another background note. It's really just grounding this fragrance. It's not really acting like a star of the show type of note in this fragrance itself. Overall, I do like the fragrance. I did get 2 of these. I obviously will do a review on the other one, which is solution number 3. But solution number 1, which is the one that we have here today, is definitely one of those that I would say is nice. It's the nicest one out of the 2 that I got, but there's a problem with it. With that being said, I think it's not the most unique fragrance out there. And I think I touch a little bit on the actual wear test of the fragrance, that this fragrance is nice. I do like it, but again, it's not unique, it's not groundbreaking. It does smell like other fragrances that I've smelled before, but that's okay because Off White is one of those brands that is still new to fashion. I mean, it's been around for a little bit now, but Off White as a brand is very streetwear, very sexy. And Off White as a brand, which is, if you're not familiar with the brand itself, Virgil Abloh was a creative director of Louis Vuitton, and he also was a creative director of Off White. And it's a streetwear brand that really adds a very sexy element to it. It has become a very famous brand, it has a big cult following, especially with Gen Z and millennials. But this brand itself obviously was not going to make a fragrance that was going to be very deep and sexy and groundbreaking or very different like Tom Ford. It's definitely a fragrance that was supposed to be mass appealing and massively loved. And I think that they really hit the nail on the bullet. Is that how you say it? They hit the nail on the bullet? They hit the nail on the head with this fragrance because obviously they are catering to their audience. Now, with that being said, the price point for a fragrance like this is a little high. I do think that they have gone a little bit too high up in the sky with the price point for this one. And because of that, I do think that that kind of hinders the sales for this fragrance. The price point for this fragrance is 185 US dollars for 100 mils or 3.4 fluid ounces. It's a little bit high. It's a little bit more expensive than your Chanel's and your Dior's for the same size. Now, these are all quote unquote supposed to be unisex fragrances, but to me, this one is going to be more masculine. There are some in this range that are going to fall a little bit more feminine. So let's get into the wear test to see if it's good, if it's not good, how it wears, and all that good stuff. So today we're doing something a little bit different with my video. I wanted to bring you along on testing this fragrance and smelling it for the first time. I typically open up my fragrances on shorts, but no one watches my shorts, so I'm like, why not just bring it onto my videos that actually people do watch and do enjoy. So I have two fragrances here. I'm going to open up one of them. We're going to test it out to see what the smell is like, if it's good, what my first impression is, all that kind of good stuff. So I have my package here and I have a knife. So let's open this up. So I got this fragrance from a store called Violet Grey. I'm not sure if anyone has ever heard of this brand or this store. It's based out of California, so it's my first time shopping with them. So we'll see what the experience is like. So they included some samples of Eighth Day. We speak the language of skin, and it's a skincare brand apparently. Here is the fragrance. So it is a fragrance that I came across. I was like very, very shocked. I had eyeballed it for a while, but the price point was a little bit, too much. But I decided to order it because they had a sale on this fragrance. So instead of being, I think, $190, it came out to the price point of $100 almost. So this is what the box looks like. So it is from the brand Off White, solution number 1. So there are 4 total. They're all called Paperwork, and there's solution 1 through solution 4. So this is the first one. And so if we look at the packaging, it's very simple. It's that kind of gray tone, kind of Kim Kardashian Skims vibes. So let's open this up. Et voila, look at that. So it's a very interesting bottle. I was very confused by why he did it like that. So it stands on this little base on its own. And I'm not being nitpicky here. Maybe it's just because it was cold outside. When I spray my fragrances, I typically lift up my sweater. Obviously, in the winter, you wear sweaters. I wear a lot of sweaters at least. And we spray it there. And we also spray it on the other arm. I usually spray some on the neck. If you're going to the office, this is a nice little trick so you can get that performance and see as you walk by. You spray some on the back of your neck so you can kind of walk by and have that wafty type of smell. And then we're going to spray some on the clothes here. So I spray on the clothes for one reason. It tends to last a little bit longer. If you spray it on yourself, sure, you get that. This is a very strong fragrance, by the way. You tend to get that, type of smell that kind of goes away very quickly when you spray it on the skin, depending on your actual skin type, of course. So first impression of this, it's clean. It kind of smells like celery when I first spray it. Don't ask me why I got that. It kind of is giving me one of those fragrances that would be with Abercrombie or with, let's say, for example, Hollister, one of those stores, very like clean, generic type of fragrance, but it's not necessarily anything super groundbreaking or unique. It is likable. So I will say that it's a fragrance that I definitely think people will gravitate towards. It's bright, it's fresh, it's very nice. It has that very clean green aquatic smell to it. I do like it. So let's see how it wears. It might not wear well at all. It is currently 1 o'clock when I just got this package. I will check in with you guys here around 3 o'clock and we'll see if it's still wearing. If I have to reapply it then I'll definitely show you that on camera. But so far, so good. We will get to that 3 hour mark to see if it wears well. Just so you guys do know, the concentration of this is eau de parfum, so it's supposed to wear well. I find that eau de parfums in today's market don't really mean anything because at the end of the day, they are going to wear however the heck they want to wear. So I will check in with you guys in 2 hours. So see you then. It is the 2 hour mark, so it is 3 o'clock. It's actually 3:04, so I am 4 minutes late to do this. But here we have, so far I can still smell it on myself. The wear is pretty good on this fragrance. I'm going to be completely transparent with you here. It's a little light. So because of that, it can be one of those fragrances that other people can smell on you, but as the day progresses, you can stop smelling it on yourself. I can still get it. It still has that very sharpness type of citric vibe to it, which is very nice. It is wearing very nice. I do like it so far. Actually, a lot of people that I have run into today have complimented the fragrance. So it's a compliment getter thus far. It's still wearing, but it's only the 2 hour mark. Hopefully, we can still have a smell by, what is it, 3 o'clock? So 5 o'clock, I will check in with you again to see if it's still working. So I'll see you at 5 o'clock. Hello, it is 5 o'clock here where I am at. By the way, I am in my mom's house, so the setup looks a little bit different, obviously, but it is the 4 hour mark. I started wearing this fragrance at exactly, it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It is now 5 o'clock. I obviously did a check in before this. It is gone at this point. You would have to really grab your clothes and like sniff it to be able to smell it. There's no projection or no longevity after that point. It becomes a skin scent, and it's really interesting. Do you know? I mean, I don't know if this is just me back in the day whenever I was younger and I couldn't afford to buy fragrances whatsoever. I used to go to department stores and like spray a fragrance on and then go on to the next one and be like, oh, I like this one too, and then spray that one on. And then by the time I walked out of the department store, I had like 5, 6 fragrances, which you're not supposed to do, but I had 5 to 6 fragrances. I still got complimented, by the way. Uh, that's what this fragrance smells like. It smells like a bunch of them mixed together. It smells like if you were to walk into a department store in the men's section, all those scents kind of have mixed together. At this point, that's what that smells like. But I do like the fragrance. It is nice. I will say it's clean, it's fresh, it's aquatic. I don't find originality in this fragrance at all, and I'm very disappointed because I am a fan of Off-White. I wish I could afford their clothing, but I can't. It's out of my price range, obviously. But I do like the brand and what it stands for. It's obviously very into streetwear. Because of that, I thought obviously it was going to be a very like mainstream type of fragrance that was going to be very likable. But I thought maybe, just maybe, that one of these would be a little bit more unique, if that makes any sense, because streetwear is such a unique aesthetic of clothing, and I thought that they were going to incorporate that into their fragrances. But this one itself, to me, I do like it. I wish it wore longer, but it's not a surprise either because of the type of fragrance that it is. So just because the fragrance itself is a clean freshie, I would definitely say that that's the reason why we're getting that 5 hour mark and it starts to die off. So you would have to reapply this just so you're aware. Unfortunately, I didn't have the best luck with that myself. So let's go back to my review to see what my final thoughts are on the fragrance. Overall, my final conclusion with this fragrance is that I do think it's nice. I do think that people that are in my age range, that are even younger than my age range, will definitely like this fragrance. It's very Hollister, Abercrombie type of vibe. It's going to be very clean. It's going to be very fresh. It's a happy fragrance. It's kind of like a douchebag fragrance too, because it kind of has that vibe to it, like a Dior Sauvage or a Dylan Blue by Versace. That's not a bad thing if you like that type of vibe, those type of fragrances, and you'll like this one as well. It's just a little bit expensive, but I know that people from Off-White or fans of Off-White will pay the price for this. Maybe they won't, I don't know. But if you will, let me know down in the comments if you've tried this fragrance at all. If you haven't tried this fragrance, also let me know down in the comments why you have not tried this fragrance. Also, make sure to give the video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more fragrance related content. Until next time, you guys, take care. Bye.